It is not terribly safe to shoot a video while driving, but I have a lot of shit to do today. So you're gonna watch a shaky video with this sopping wet hair. I have all this training this week for continuing education. Continuing education is a Sanskrit word for bullshit ways that we keep making money off of people in order to give them the luxury of working and making more money for us. That's what CE classes are. It starts at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, are we growing crops? 9 o'clock in the morning? God, it's like I have a job. It's not what I was trying to do with this real estate thing. I was thinking more like 11:30, after lunch. Anyway, I have got to rush to Walmart because I'm out of food, because the Zoom class that I have, the CE classes, I'm supposed to be fasting, but the food is right there, so I've run out of food. I'm trying, because Walmart is my favorite place in the world. I'm trying to adopt what I believe is the future of grocery shopping, and that is curbside pickup. I wonder if all the junkies are already here shooting heroin in our parking lot. Probably not. It's a bit early for them. I don't think that we will be going to the grocery store in the future. I think that we'll be doing this or delivery, and so I'm trying to get on board, you know? Be a future thinker. I'll stop here before I actually go pick it up. The problem is that Walmart, as much as I love Walmart, Walmart's inventory system is second to the Pentagon. Second to the Pentagon. And yet, they're always out of stuff. Now, there was an excuse that it was because of coronavirus over the winter. What does that have to do with my Crystal Light? Cleaning supplies, fine. Toilet paper, I'm not sure why, but that became a thing. Orange Crystal Light, that's all I want. I eat a very limited amount of things, so when it's not in stock, I'm like, thank you. I'm already not eating all day long because of the stupid intermittent fasting. And then when I get to eat, the promise hour of the day where the skies part and the sun comes down and I can stop being freezing cold because I'm not slowly killing myself off of some baseless health claim that I bought into. I bought into it. And I can't have my Crystal Light. They're always out of stuff. I've done a little research with people who work at Walmart, and I've learned that it's not because it's necessarily out of stock, it's because they didn't feel like looking for it. So I'll tell you that you're probably going to get about half your order, maybe that. And then sometimes they do substitutions, but I would suggest some education on what exactly a substitution is. For example, if I say I want skim milk, whole milk is not a substitution. That is completely not the same thing. That's like someone asking for an ice cube and you give them a glass of water. Like, kind of same molecular structure, but no, I don't want whole milk. Ugh, gross. Teat cream. Ugh. I'd rather, skim milk is more like water. You're gonna get all kinds of substitutions. Half your order won't be in there. And then my favorite thing is when you do this all on the app and then you go to pick it up, and they'll wait until you get here to send you an alert that it's gonna be late. So I'm about 20 minutes into when my order should be ready. We'll just see how this goes. But I have got to get this done because I have snacked my way through CE training. Contract law, it's been riveting. Absolutely riveting. Anyway, I got an email from somebody who asked me a question that I get asked all the time and that I usually completely blow off. But given that it's the end of the year and I think we all do a lot of reflecting this time of the year. The question was, do you miss traveling? I get that question in a million different derivatives, like as though people are mourning for me. Like, oh, you poor thing, you had all this freedom and you were on the road in the van and every day is a new place and now you sell real estate and live in a RV park so I always just kind of dismiss it, and I say, or I usually agree just so I can get off the conversation. And I'll say, yeah, it was a lot of fun, but life is full of seasons, blah, 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 blah. But this one, I don't know why. I think it's because they sounded a little bit sadder than the other people, and I thought about it, and the answer is no. And I know that's hard to believe, but the answer is legitimately no. And the reason is, I don't remember much of my trip. the 7 months that started this channel and all kinds of things, I really don't remember a lot of it because it was so turn and burn. It was every day. It was finding where I'm going to go, making the reservations if I was going on a tour, finding water, making sure I had power, finding the gym so I could take a shower. Oh, that rhymed. The people in this parking lot, I usually do the staring at the junkies shooting heroin here, and now people are looking at me. Especially that guy right over there. It's probably a cop. It's probably a cop who knows me. I don't care. Anyway, I don't remember much of the trip, and so I don't miss it. And I know that sounds probably superficial because most people who watch this channel or who have a job would love nothing more than to sell other things and get an RV and hit the road and not be tied to any kind of schedule. But it was work. It was all those things I mentioned, and then shooting the YouTube videos. And so if you ask me what my best memories were, they weren't during that trip. And I was alone. And a lot of my favorite memories were actually the things I did in news, where I was working with our officers and the people I met. And I am not a people person. I'm a black belt INTJ. I love nothing more than being in my pajamas and being by myself. But that has nothing to do with the best memories that you have. Those usually involve other people or cows. Other people or cows. So I don't miss it. And if you gave me all the money in the world and said, you can go do this all again, we're going to give you back your van, you can do whatever you want, you can go, I wouldn't choose it twice because I've already done it. And I think anything done repeatedly over time, even if it's freeing and fun and new, it becomes monotonous. And at the 4-month mark, I had figured out the van, I had figured out the schedule, and so I wasn't learning anything. And I get accused of being impulsive and like jumping from here to there, but once I figure something out, I want to go learn something new. My belief is, for me and all of you, is that all of this is you get a two-way ticket. You get to come here, you get to go back. Hopefully, some of you are definitely not going back. Your comments, awful, dreadful. You're going, but you get a ticket, and the ticket, there's nothing on it. It just says you get to go on an adventure, and you pick the path, and you can do almost anything that you want, barring some limitations, like I'm not going to be an NBA player, and do what you want. But then at a certain point, your ticket is up, and you have to come back. And so I'm on a mission to do as many different things as possible and throw things at the wall and see what sticks. So I did the van, and I did the Offgrid, and I did all that, and so I'm done. And now I want to go travel in different ways. I'm dead set on going abroad. There's this cold going around the country that some people is serious for, some people it's not at all, and now we can't travel that way. So that's not my season. It will be my season. My season right now is trying to make money again so that I can have those seasons. But I've already done it. I wouldn't do it twice. I've got nothing to prove in that regard. So I don't wake up in the morning and think, gosh, I wish I was still on the road. And I hope as you plan your trips, if you are trying to retire or trying to start your own business so that you can travel whenever you want, if you want to do the van thing, it's not meant to be forever. And I don't have any envy of all these RV and van channels that this is their thing, and they make way more money than I do, but I wouldn't trade it, because once I figured it out and had the experience, I was ready for something else, and they're stuck. That's what they have to keep doing. So that's why I keep interjecting different kinds of videos in here, some about real estate, some about other things, because this is going to be an evolving thing, and your life should be too. If you get stuck on one thing and that's your forever, I don't know, that's not the kind of life I want to live. And I'll also add to that, everyone is all about this off-grid, and the off-grid vans and the off-grid RVs, and in all that planning and obsession about being off-grid, they forget that they have tied themselves to the strongest grid possible, and that is traditional employment. I know that a lot of us are in a really bad spot this year with money and everything, but the point of my trip, if you remember, was that I was supposed to figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life, and that didn't happen. It didn't happen at all. And that's not a failure though, because what it did teach me is that I could unhook from that grid, which is having a paycheck every 2 weeks, having the benefits, having the standard schedule and all that, and not fall apart. I've had 2 years of struggle. I've had 2 runways. I left without any kind of net underneath me. I rebuilt a net. I had the video production, and then it fell apart with coronavirus, and now I have a brand new runway. So that's really hard to go down 2, especially if you don't have any other kind of support. 2 runways in 2 years. But it taught me that I could unplug from that grid. And so, you know, people talk so much about just being out in the woods and the solar and not being attached, and yet they are so plugged into that grid. This modern kind of employment with the 2 weeks and all your benefits are tied in your health, that is a modern phenomenon. Think back to your grandparents. Whose grandparents owned a hardware store, owned a beauty shop, owned a business? They were entrepreneurs. They came here with nothing. They built businesses. And now we have created this higher education system that does nothing more than teach people to be employees. That is what college is for. Unless you're going to medical school or something like that. It teaches people 4 years you step out of being productive to learn how to be an employee. And that is, I'm not all about that. I strongly disagree with that. So think about the grids that you're actually attached to. I don't think that getting solar is your biggest issue. I don't think that finding a cheap way to generate power in your RV is what's keeping you from doing it. I think that the reason that you're not doing the travel thing or more of the travel thing is because you have attached yourself to that kind of grid and you won't untouch it. That was the biggest gift of my big adventure for 7 months, was that I learned to step away from this rock solid structure we have created in this country, in this world, that keeps you tied to the job. And any of you watching this are going to see all the struggle bus that I have with making money and starting a business, and it's been so tempting to look for a job, especially lately, but that's plugging back in. And because this is all a big adventure that I get to go do whatever I want, I think the biggest risk is plugging back in. That to me is scarier than all the things I could do if I kept trying to figure it out on my own. Because the coolest people in history were not plugged in. They were crazy. And I'm here to join their party. So I don't miss the travel. I don't. I miss having money. That'd be great. I miss seeing beautiful buildings and like Bolt Castle and all that. But I'll have that again. But I don't miss what I had, because I'm always looking ahead to all the adventures that I plan on having. So think about that as you make your plans in 2021 to travel, and a lot of us are. Think about, what is the point? Why? What is your why? Why are you doing this? Is it just to get away from a job? Is it to run away from a job? Or is it to run away from a relationship or something like that? Or is it to take advantage of the space in between those 2 tickets you got here and just see what happens? Scare the hell out of yourself, but see what happens. Merry Christmas, you weirdos.